My wife, 42F, says my sister, 31F, doesn't love her because she didn't bring gifts. I, 39M, live with my wife, 42F, and her 2 kids, 3 and 17, in South America. We've been married for 9 months. I am from Europe, and just last week my sister came to visit us, traveling 10 km. When she arrived, she had brought gifts from my parents, but not from herself. This upset my wife, and that festered, all without my being aware, throughout the 10 days that my sister spent with us. I was under the impression that everyone got along super well, and I still believe they did. There were lots of laughs, good conversation, the atmosphere was never tense, there was no outward conflict at any point, and everyone parted amicably. But I have since found out after a heated convo with my wife, that she developed a slowly building resentment towards my sister, over supposed incidents that in my eyes are rather innocuous. To wit, the no gifts upon arrival. This supposedly shows a lack of love, because we in turn did buy my family a whole bunch of gifts, which by the way had yet to be sent by the time of my sister's arrival, so my sister had no idea. My sister went to buy fruit at the market one day. She only bought fruit for herself and not the rest of the family. My wife thinks this shows a clear lack of compassion. I just see someone buying fruit. Later in the week my sister bought mineral bracelets for my wife and her 17-year daughter, and a Peppa-themed silicone ice cream shape for the 3-year who loves Peppa. She made sure to pick colors that fit my wife and her daughter's tastes, and she believes these minerals have healing properties. This to me evinces love, but my wife says it's thoughtless because neither her nor her daughter ever wear bracelets. By contrast, my wife had picked out gifts for my family that are ostensibly more tailored to their personalities. On the final day of my sister's visit, my wife came home to find the dishes not washed. She took this as a sign of my sister's disrespect for our hospitality, even though my sister had been washing dishes all throughout her stay, without my wife's knowing because she was at work throughout much of the week. My wife says the issues went on and on, yet she can only mention these few things, which I think amounts to very little. In conclusion, my wife says that my sister came to visit me and only me. My sister did state at one point that she came to see my brother, and that my sister doesn't care about my wife or her kids. I believe this is absurd. Yes, my sister could have brought gifts and it could be considered thoughtless that she didn't. I agree with my wife that especially for children a physical gift is appropriate because it is a more obvious demonstration of love. However, I also believe that one can show love in many ways, and that my sister cares very much for every member of my family. She showed substantial interest in their lives and spent quality time with them, not so much the 3-year because of the language barrier. Me and my wife have now barely talked for the past 36+ hours, and I'm having a lot of trouble finding a way out. I cannot come around to her side and she is stuck in hers. It's all very weird and confusing to me, especially given how loving both my wife and sister are. How do I resolve this? And #X200B. Edit. After reading all of these replies, which are tremendously helpful and offered exactly the perspective I needed, I think it mostly comes down to the cultural differences. My wife is Argentinian, and me and my sister are Dutch, which is about as cold and direct a culture as you can pick. That still leaves me unsure about how to proceed. I guess get to an agree to disagree about the value of gifts? And accept that my wife doesn't like my sister? It still leaves me feeling raw about my wife not understanding, accepting that my sister does in fact feel love for her and her children. I know, what is love? Of course my sister's love for me is far greater than for my relatively new family whom she just met for the first time, but still. Anyway, all this advice and these comments are tremendously helpful and really appreciated. She flew halfway across the world, is that not a gift? Your wife didn't want your sister visiting in the first place and she's inventing reasons to be mad because she knows her real reason makes her look bad. Your wife sounds a bit rude and immature for someone in their 40s. Why did you marry a 6-year-old? They're called gifts, not obligations. Even when your sister bought your wife a gift, she still wasn't happy. Your wife sounds very petty. Your wife's expectations are way out of line. How many times has your wife met your sister? You've been married 9 months. Your wife is new to the family. You can't just make a relationship. It takes time to grow. Gift giving is very cultural. I'd sit down with your wife and talk about that. She, 37F, wanted kids. I, 38M, didn't. There was no other choice but to break up. Or there was. Dear Internet strangers. I already know the answer to that question. It's obvious. Maybe I just need to vent a little, please bear with me. Our relationship lasted less than a year. What is less than a year, in the grand scheme of things? And yet we both immediately felt there was something deep, something really intense going on between us. Our relationship was a roller coaster of highs and lows. She showered me with love, care, attentions. I rarely felt so important to someone, before. We spent a lot of time together, so much that those few months felt like they were years. But we also fought a lot. Sometimes it was over small things. Sometimes they were more serious matters, but over time our fights started to pile up. More than once we were on the verge of breaking up, and every time, after that, we experienced a new, albeit brief, honeymoon phase. But, especially in the last few months, I started to feel overwhelmed, like we were always walking on the edge. I need my relationship to feel secure, and in the last few months I really started to feel uneasy about our frequent arguments. And then there was the main problem. Sometime in the future, she wanted to have kids, while I'm sure I don't want kids. Our different goals had already emerged twice. In fact, I had been very clear on the matter since the very beginning, and both times, in the end, she evaluated that she loved me too much to think of a life without me, even if that meant not having kids. The third time she evaluated differently and she left me? I left her? I don't even know exactly who left who, but we split, and not amicably. Perhaps due to the fact we were also very stressed out by the frequent arguments. And here I am, after 10 days since I last spoke to her, thinking about her. Missing what we had. Even if it was a short-lived relationship, the emotions involved were strong and the highs were really high. Here I am, thinking that maybe, if I contact her again, but no good can come out of this, can it? I know. Rationally, I fully know. Maybe I just need someone to tell me that no, it would be a waste of time and that I should just forget about her and move on. Thanks to anyone who will answer and to anyone who will even just read. Don't contact her. You can look back fondly on the good times. You can grieve the loss. But don't reach back out. You have different goals in your lives. If you don't want kids, that's fine. If she wants kids, that's also fine. But you just don't work together, so you should leave each other to people who don't interfere with each other's life goals. She wants kids. You want to be her kid. You are not compatible. You shouldn't be dating women who are looking for a partner and to have kids. There are no compromises with kids, so having a woman who wants kids stay because she loves you too much is still not a good idea. That's not going to last long. Like you see here, you had arguments and in the end she left because of the kid issue. If you truly don't want kids, don't date anyone unless they are child-free. You two are oil and water. Just stay broken up, no contact. I, 42 male, resent my wife, 40 female, and I don't know how to get over it. Married 3 years. Have a 1.5-yo girl. I resent my wife. I almost can't stand being in the same room as her. I work from home and she's a stay-at-home mom. She spent the past years gaslighting me. Claiming I don't know how to be a good dad just because she had a younger brother and I didn't, and because she reads up a lot about kids while I don't. When she goes out for a few hours or even days I feel like a weight has been lifted and I am medically better. I have grade 2 hypertension, but when I take a reading when she's not around, my blood pressure is consistently lower. We have a 1.5-year-old daughter together, and she's the only reason I have stuck around. I'm not too fond of kids in general, and I don't think I'm this amazing dad at all. My wife is good at it and she enjoys it, but I don't want my daughter to grow up in a broken home. I know they say it's better for the kids to have separated parents than unhappy parents, but what can I do? I can't get myself to abandon her. Why did we get here? My wife has a habit where she always has to blame any small mistake on someone, something else. She bumps a toe in the coffee table? We need to change the coffee table as it's too big. She parks under a tree and fills the car with bird poop? We need to get the gardener to tell that tree, whatever it is, it's never her fault or her mistake. Something bad happens as an outcome to someone's, usually my, decision? See? You should have got one large bottle of water instead of 2 small ones because now they're warm, constantly. So now my resentment has got to a stage where every time she tries to talk to me I pull up my defenses by going on the attack, and throw in snide remarks, or tell her that it was her decision to do X, or if she asks me for my opinion about anything I just tell her, no point in telling you what I think, do what you want. I hate myself for being like this. I'm generally very easygoing, and when someone makes a mistake my response is usually, did anybody get hurt? No? Then forget it and move on, but she's turned me into this petty idiot. Get yourself an individual therapist. They can help you figure out if any of this is solvable or if it's really mostly just her. They can also help you through the divorce process if you go that route. So you're not really fond of kids, and admit you're not an amazing father, but you resent your wife for what? Knowing that or calling you out on it. She probably resents you too if that's your attitude. Where every time she tries to talk to me I pull up my defenses by going on the attack. You dislike your wife, and to fix this, you are attacking her? Maybe she remains toxic because you are toxic? You both need marriage counseling. If that doesn't work, then you should get divorced and find happiness elsewhere. No offense, but you can't admit you're not that great of a dad and say you don't want to get a divorce because of the kid in the same sentence. You guys both suck, honestly. You're not teenagers, you're married. Grow up and fix your marriage. So you're mad that she says you aren't a good father while admitting that you're not a good father? What reasons does she actually give for saying you're not a good father? Do you change diapers, do bath time, play with her, get up with her in the night, feed her, clean up after her, talk to her, etc.? Me, 30M. Just found that my 4 years of girlfriend, 29F, is planning to leave me. What should I do? Me, 30M. Just found that my 4 years of girlfriend, 29F, is planning to leave me. We are both doctors, have been dating for 4 years, and she has been living with me for 2 years. She has been acting strange for last 2 weeks. She has been distant to me and been moving her stuff secretly to her own house. I figured out something was going on, so I managed to access her PC. I read her DMs to her friends and found out that she was planning to leave me this Sunday when she would return from her family home. I did not find any affairs or suspicious messages to a man. The reason why she wants to leave is that she wants to work in a foreign country while I want to work in my country. We never had a big talk about this situation, and I am not %100 against working in another country. I know that this can be a deal breaker, but I think in our 4 years deserve some respect. She should have talked this about me. We could have split up after that discussion, but she chose to sneak out of the relationship, and messed it up. I am disappointed. She comes tomorrow morning to my house. She is on a night shift right now. I am planning to reveal that I know everything and break up. She is texting me like nothing is going on, and I am very upset. I don't know what should I do. Too long did not read. Me, 30M. Just found that my 4 years of girlfriend, 29F, is planning to leave me, but we never had a serious talk about her reason of leaving me, and she thinks that I did not notice her secretly leaving the house and her lies. Sorry for any grammatical errors. English is not my native language. Update. We talked, cried a bit. She also said we lost communication and could not see me in her future. When I asked why she did not talk with me but secretly moved out, she said she did not know how to handle the situation and apologized. I also apologized for breaching her privacy. I showed her some of the comments that accuses me of abusing her. She just laughed. She is now packing her stuff. I thank people who supported me. Not much you can do, brother. End it. Think about the good times you had. Don't let it make you bitter, and move on. Shit happens. You'll find someone new more aligned with what you need. I am planning to reveal that I know everything and break up. Pretty much this. I managed to access her PC, it's already over no matter what. She is leaving on Sunday. You can say goodbye, or you can tell her you broke into her computer, violated her privacy, read all her emails, and you already know she is leaving on Sunday. That's up to you. Just let it go. I doubt it's just this one thing, that's just what she's telling people. You accessing her computer tells me there's more to this. So instead of asking her directly, you snooped through her computer to dig dirt, and now you are wondering why she's opting to GTFO as sneakily as possible?